Hello and welcome. Oh my goodness, you found my space. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Lorna Mutegi and I am an identity and business coach. And I'm here to help you discover your purpose that will enable you build an impactful business. So before we get into that, how about I tell you a little bit about myself? I grew up in a home that was full of love, laughter, and music. I remember we'd all come together in the sitting room and my dad would put on the old records, the LPs. And I think one of the LPs that we loved listening to was Elvis Presley. And so him and my mom would just show us what their dance moves were, Dance moves of the 60s and 70s. And we'd all we'd all just come together and Elvis Presley the room out. Oh my goodness, those were just the good old days. But honestly, my parents worked really hard to make sure that my siblings and I could have a really good education and a pretty high level of exposure. So my siblings chose to further their studies abroad. For me, I was such the home girl. I decided that I wanted to do my local university here at home. And I did. And just thinking about it now, I think that explains why my purpose is meant to be lived out at home here in Kenya, in Africa. So in my 20s, oh my goodness, I had such a blast. It was party after party after party, okay? I mean, if the party was lit, I was the fireball, all right? So that's the only way I can describe it. I had so much fun. And don't get me wrong, I also had a job. I would wake up, I would go to work. And I thought that I had my life together. I thought that, everything was going good. And when I think about it now, wow, it was simply a blur. My 20s was simply a blur. And the only way I can put it was that I was unplugged. What did that mean for me? It was me doing life ungrounded, me doing life without an identity. I didn't even have purpose. I didn't know why I was doing what I was doing. I was just doing it. Not really understanding what to say yes to and what to say no to. I was like a paper bag in the wind, Just imagine a paper bag being blown by the wind, left, right. That took a toll on me. And I remember really just desiring to make a change, to start living differently. And so thinking about the turning point when I actually decided that I really needed to change the way I was living, the way I was doing things. I remember a friend of mine invited me to go for a church service. We had gone with a bunch of friends and we were just like, shall we go to church? Shall we? It's just one of those. We hadn't been doing church. I hadn't been doing church for a while. And so when we got to the church, I remember it was one of the most impactful sermons that I had heard in a long time. And to be honest, everyone left the church and I was left behind. So my body that day did leave the church, but my spirit and my soul was still seated on the pew. And that's when I actually decided that I would turn my life around. The young lady who was left in church that day, I had to really just work on her every single day. And I purposed to do that because I now started desiring, a better life, a good life. It took, having to read books. It took having to sign myself up for, personal development programs. It meant cutting out people who are not good for me anymore. It meant a lot of, having to deep dive into spaces that were very painful, that I didn't want to get into. It took having to be teachable, And finally, after several years, I was able to mature the young lady who was left in church one morning into a woman who was all dressed up in strength and dignity. Having worked in corporate for more than 10 years and leading a successful family business, I know and understand what it takes for any businessman or woman to run a successful business here in Africa. And as your trainer and coach, I will help you do that without losing your mind, but still using best practice. So this is the thing, okay? I have come to understand that every single thing that happens in your life happens for a reason. I have also come to learn and understand that you cannot disconnect your business, your family, your relationships, anything that you do here, you cannot disconnect that from your identity, all right? And so, as an identity and business coach, I am here to help you discover your purpose and align it to your business to create freedom, wealth, and impact.